Hello. It is I, the maid of the pizzas. Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance. Eat your heart out. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hopefully everyone is doing good. Queen Veronica, thank you for the subscription. Thank you for the resub. And thank you. Can I get a shout out for Queen Veronica as well? Welcome on in, Oh, that emote is fire. That emote is so good. Welcome on in, everybody. I see we've got some folks already jumping on in. I also see a resubscription from Leon Sarkras. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Starting.
Hey, Pizza. Lean 6 wave, lean 6 shirt, pism and hurt, pism and jizzlet, pism and a blankie, pism and he.
I don't what? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, man. Okay, so let me also just check to make sure, because I thought I turned off alerts, yet we still are getting some TTS. That's okay. We're going to do our best. Welcome on in, folks. Hopefully everyone is doing good. This is twitch.tv/PizzaMaid. I am the head maid in charge here, Pizza Maid. It is a pleasure to serve you. I hope you're all doing well. It is Saturday, February 28th, the year of your Lord 2026. And this is twitch.tv. If this is your first time here on the channel, welcome on in. My name is Pizza Maid. I'm a Phantasy Star VTuber. I am a space captain. I also play a lot of Phantasy Star. I do. I play a lot of JRPGs, online versions, fan-made games heavily inspired by Phantasy Star. If you make it, I will play it. It's a very Field of Dreams kind of thing. Did I turn off that one? I don't think I did. Hold on a second. Let me just check real fast. I don't think I turned off that one. Hold on. Viewer reward should still be popping up. Oh, it's because I didn't turn on. Oh, that's on me. I forgot to turn on Mix It Up. I'm gonna scuff it. Every stream. If you came here expecting a perfectly polished stream, you will get none of those things. They never happen. It'll never, ever happen. I've tried tirelessly. But welcome on in, folks. This is a very special edition. We are doing episode 17 of Margarita's Happy Hour. If this is your first time here on the channel, the way we do this is very, very simple. We like to jump into various Phantasy Star games, or sometimes we just hang out here at the holodeck and we just like to chat with a special guest, usually a very prominent or a kind and sweet figure within the Phantasy Star community. Ask a couple of questions. If chat has any questions, you guys are also welcome to ask as well. Now, we just had last month happen with AK Diley, so this month, and I've been doing this all the time, it's SectionSkyly. Diley and Skyly. I keep going AK Skyly, or sometimes I do Section Diley. It's the way I'm configured. It's my wiring. It's my rework. But I'm very, very excited because for this month, we're going to have our good friend SectionSkyly here on the channel, and we are going to chat with him. We actually had a collab with Skyly on Sunday. Oh my gosh, it was Sunday. It was Sunday when that happened. That's wild to me. Speak of the phoneme. There he is. The man himself. Hello, Diley. How are you? And hello, Diclonius. Just a quick heads up for you guys as well, just so that you're aware, this gets uploaded onto YouTube. There is a special playlist for all of the archived episodes of Margarita's Happy Hour. So if you're unable to watch live, you can also catch that VOD. But during that time, we're actually going to try to reduce a couple of the alerts just so that it doesn't interrupt the interviewed guest. Interviewed guest? It doesn't interrupt the guest from speaking, and that you guys can hear everything that the guest has to say. So if you do say any redeems, but they come up like resubs, follows, things of that sort, again, just know that it's perfectly natural. We will see the redeems, you just won't hear the redeems. So hopefully that is okay for everyone. For myself, I was having a little bit of controller trouble. So I'm hoping my controller is kind to me this go round. Hopefully it doesn't give me a hard time. But we'll see. Let's see here. It should be okay, though. Turing Hacker with the gifted subs! Thank you so much. Thank you for the gifted subs to Boink Redo, General Techno, Ignite Dreams, AK Diley, and Sword St. Michael. Turing, Wait, gifted subbies. Thank you guys so much. And I also saw the resub come in for Queen Veronica. Thank you so much for that. And I think there was another one. Did I miss it? Yeah, no, Leon. I got it. I got them all. Thank you all for the gifted subs. I appreciate it. And thank you, Turing. Thank you for your support. So with that, I am going to start logging into the game because I am so stoked. I was DMing Skyly because we were at a wrestling match yesterday. Now that I know that Skyly is also a wrestling fan, I was like, Skyly, I have so many pictures to send you. Oh, my dear friend, I have so many pictures to send you. He's like, okay, send them on over. So I'm pretty jazzed. Let me just really quickly make some updates here. And Lantis, thank you for the gifted sub to Nanto June. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. I think we should be up and running. Let me make sure that our game capture is good to go. We are good here. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going. I'm making my way. As soon as I get and see Skyly, I'm going to scream. I'm going to go, oh my God! I wasn't ready. Actually, I was ready. I've been prepared for this. Okay, just when I thought that this was done, it's not. No! No! Oh, man. Okay. So, we are still having issues. Okay, hold on. Gotta do a quick change here. If life will be so kind to me. Alright. Don't you worry about this. We are gonna get to Skyly. Skyly, I'm not far. I'm in game. I'm just not connecting is the way I'm supposed to be. Alright, let's see if that'll do it. Alright, so let's do this real fast. This is all usually prepared before the stream. Sometimes we have scuffs. Listen, I'm not a fan of the keyboard. I've never been a fan of the keyboard. I'm not about that keyboard life. Finley Fish, thank you for the resubscription.
Pizza one wiggly.
All right. We should be okay now, though. Okay. All right, let's see. We should be okay. Theoretically, we should be good. I think I've had a scuff on every episode of Margarita's Happy Hour. I feel like it's not an episode if I don't have at least one scuff in game. And it's always something. But we're going to make it work. We're Pengu Feed. Pengu Feed is down for today because we have a guest, so we don't want to interrupt. I know, what is a show without scuff? Okay, we're good. Hi, Vaughn. How are you? Okay, I'm gonna go to lobby 5. I watch as this is all going down. Skyly's just laughing and cackling. He's just like, oh, this is fun. Go ahead, Skyly. There he is. Skyly! There you are. All right. They've been waiting for you. It is time. It is time. I can make them wait no longer. Folks are already in game. I love it. Scuff is the spice of pizza. It is. It's one of my 11 herbs and spices. It's one of my 11 herbs and spices. All right. Let me get Skyly on in here. Oh, streams. How do they work? Hello, Skyly!
Hello.
How are you, friend?
I'm very good, thanks. And yourself?
Oh, you know, controllers. It's a thing. It's a very real thing. You know how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, minor technical difficulties with PS4. It kind of goes hand in hand, really. So,
at this point, it builds character. It is truly just a part of my character at this point. So I've just accepted it. So
just roll with it.
Literally, and then at this point, I try to tell people, I'm like, you know what? I meant to do that. I was testing you all. You all passed. And yes, thank you for all the gift subs. Welcome on in. Oh, we got some folks coming in here. Welcome on in, everybody. And also, thank you for all the submitted questions. Skyly does not know what the submitted questions are. I have not told him about them yet. We're going to get raw reactions live, but they're good questions. I promise you. They're very good questions. But
So I shouldn't be worried.
no, it's not like, what's your shoe size, Skyly? What's your shoe size? I want to know.
What's your address? What's your credit card number?
By chance, what kind of car do you drive? What are your license plates? It's nothing like that, I promise. But welcome on in. Welcome. So guys, everybody who does not know, Skyly is an amazing NGS official content creator. And now I get to say Skyly is one of my friends. So welcome on in. But if this is the first time that folks are getting to meet you, Skyly, I just wanted to take a moment to see if you would like to introduce yourself and just let us know about your content on both Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, no worries. So first of all, hello to everyone. Hello to all the Penguin crew, and I'm assuming there's some Fowler fan watching as well. So I am SectionSkyly. I do content for Phantasy Star in general. I started out with doing some NGS videos a few years back, but I'm probably more known for doing original PSO content. I basically cover more or less every game in the franchise at this point, though. It's kind of become a bit of a problem. I am on YouTube at SectionSkyly, and I'm also on Twitch as well. I usually stream twice a week. But yeah, I've been doing this for a couple of years now.
Oh, wow. You've been doing this more than just a couple years. I mean, you've been playing for 20 years, but you've been probably streaming for close to... Well, streaming a few years, probably YouTube's been longer, though, right?
So my YouTube channel is... I used to use it for something else, so that's been around for probably 20 odd years, probably as long as PSO. But I've only started streaming and doing YouTube content regularly, probably in the last, I want to say, maybe 2.5, 3 years. So
then I'm curious to ask, and if you would like to share, it would be amazing. If it's a secret, that's also understandable. Why the choice of the name SectionSkyly? And am I pronouncing it right? Is it Skyly? I never know if I'm correctly pronouncing it. I hope I am, but... So
it's a bit of a weird one, this, because I've heard people pronounce it both ways. I think it might actually be Skyly, but I've called it Skyly for 20 years since I played GameCube. And it's a really hard habit to break.
No, that's perfectly fine. I can go with it. We can make it a thing. It's totally cool.
But yeah, and the reason I chose the name, basically, I just wanted it as kind of a more or less just a catchy name, but something to do with PSO. That's about the entire intent behind it. I have a very, very bad imagination and couldn't really think of much else.
Okay,
I wish there was more to that.
No, listen, there's some things where people are just like, where did you get this name from? You're like, you don't have to think too deep about it. It's just, I chose it and I rolled with it. That's okay.
That is pretty much it, yeah.
Oh, see, a lot of people are also saying, they've been saying Skyly themselves, and it kind of goes both ways, potato. Okay. Fair enough. And then also, I did want to ask this question as well because of your character. We had this discussion on Sunday, but I wanted to bring it up here as well. The name of your HUnewearl you've had for 20 years as well. I wanted to see if we could also get a bit of an origin story on Telka as well. Or Taka. Yeah,
so Taka, she's been around since PSO Blue Burst on the Sega service, so about 2004, 2005. So she's quite old now. So the name, basically, again, not a whole lot of thought gone into this, but I'm happy with where it went. I basically took one of my favorite characters from a Final Fantasy game, which was Terra from Final Fantasy VI, and then combined it with Rika from Phantasy Star 4. At this point, however, I had not played Phantasy Star 4 and knew nothing about it. I just liked the look of the character.
We all do. We've all been there before.
So I basically just meshed the two together and it became Taka, and it's kind of what I've just ran with since.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just remember seeing it, and at first, especially with the way that the text is in game, at first I was like, Telka? And then you mentioned Taka, and then I was like, oh, there's a story behind this. I gotta know. But you know what? Everybody has always picked a favorite character, within their favorite franchise and has done something with it in some iteration or form. So I completely
understand. Definitely, yeah.
Now, before we even spoke and communicated, because we have a very interesting connection in that my community knew of you and were following your guides. And then I believe we just casually just started talking on Twitter. And it was funny because I believe it was Leon Starcrest that was like, I'm using his Dragon Loops guide to level up. I'm like, oh, okay. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, I know this name. And then I saw you just kind of pop in on the Twitter algorithm or lack there. I don't know what the Twitter algorithm is, but I got to see more and more of your tweets, and I got to follow your Japan adventures, and I was just like, oh man, that's what's up. And then we just kind of got to talking. But I think what makes you such a, I don't want to say an anomaly, but very much a diamond in the rough is the fact that your guides, I think, have been utilized and used and kind of circulated within the Phantasy Star community for a very good amount of time. And they've been so helpful, and they've been so resourceful. So I think, many folks will either watch your guide videos or even, follow your live streaming as well on both Twitch and YouTube to kind of gain some insight, because I think you really kind of have a knack for knowing, the ins and outs and the little tips and tricks along the way with playing Phantasy Star. So I'm curious to ask, more so on the video portion of things, how long of a process is it for you to work on your YouTube videos or your YouTube guides? And what are the steps to making those, become what we end up seeing at the end?
Well, first of all, so the reason I wanted to do the video guides in the first place was because I mentioned before I started out with NGS videos, and I realized I was mentioning things in the NGS videos that kind of related to PSO1, but it kind of dawned on me that a lot of people who play NGS might not have ever played PSO1 or might just be too young for it, which made me feel very, very old for the first. But I thought, well, if people don't know about PSO1, maybe I should do some videos on it and see if people are interested in it. So I did a few. People seem to like them. So I thought, okay, I'm going to start doing actual guides for this then to help people out. Because PSO is a game that really doesn't explain a whole lot. There's a lot of things hidden away that the game just does not tell you. And I thought people probably need to know some of this if they're wanting to actually invest any time into the game. Mm-hmm. In regards to the sort of the length of the videos and how long it takes to do them, it does depend a lot on what the guides are, really. So things like the character guides. So if we start with for example, the HUnewearl guide, that is a class I'm really familiar with. So that I knew a lot of the stuff already. So I found it really, really easy to put the guide together, because I've played the class so much over the years that I feel like I know the class more or less inside and out now. For classes that I was less familiar with, there was obviously a bit of research involved with looking up how to best play them and things people might want to look out for as well. I think for those guides, I would say probably a couple of hours researching stuff, maybe an hour or so recording and cutting little bits, and then probably a lot of editing to cut out all the bits that are wrong.
Oh, so there's a lot of fact checking that goes into the process as well.
Yeah, so normally once I've recorded it, I'll check through it again, and I'll always run into things that are complete rubbish that I've said that I need to redact and change.
Oh. Now, do you feel then, in a way, because you are doing research on maybe other classes, like let's say RACAST or a PhoneNoom or PhoneWorld, maybe classes that you don't play as regularly, do you think that it's actually made you a very well-rounded and a more versatile player in with regards to both PSO1 and even PSO2?
I think so. I mean, what I will say is, after doing some of the class guides, it actually did inspire me to actually start playing some of the classes a bit more, because I realized that although I've played this game since, 2003, I would say, honestly, about 90% of my play time has been with HUnewearl.
We all have that
I have
one
a problem.
that there's nothing wrong. That's how we build character. It's development. We know what we like. You get it.
So I think once I'd done those guides, I thought, okay, maybe I should actually start playing some other classes and not just play the same class over and over again. Although, having said that, I have just made another HUnewearl.
What? When? What? For what?
Just recently. Different section ID, but yeah. I thought, well, I could make another class. I've tried other classes out now. I'm going to make another HUnewearl again.
It's like, I know what I like. I just can't. I can't quit you, HUnewearl. I can't. I've tried and I cannot. That's so. Then, are we reaching a goal now of just having every section ID HUnewearl? Is that the goal now? Is this a new challenge for you?
I at least want a couple of them. I do have other classes for some of the other section IDs that cover them quite well, so I'm kind of happy with those. I don't know if I could do 10 different HUnewearls, but who knows? Ask me again in another 5, 10 years, and I might have them.
That's completely understandable. Do you also see yourself kind of gravitating, aside from PSO1? I know that you also play Phantasy Star Universe and, of course, PSO2 and New Genesis. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just see yourself naturally gravitating towards HUnewearls or HUnewearl varieties? Or do you think that you're more open to just trying different things because it's a completely different system, a completely different format, same premise, but, different take on it?
I mean, so for the other games, I do have a thing where I do tend to bring, particularly Taker, I tend to bring her into pretty much every game that I play. So I will make the closest approximation that I can in each game. So I know on Sega PSU servers, I used her as I think she was a Newman Phi Master,
Mm-hmm.
which was really not a good idea because Newman really wasn't great at melee and PSU, but I did it anyway because HUnewearl.
You're like, I have a thing. I got to stick with it.
But I think, particularly for the later games, though, like NGS, I do tend to vary what I play a bit more. I've got pretty much one of every race in NGS, and I play with all the different classes as well. I do still have favorites for sure, but I think I do tend to vary a little bit more in the later games.
Okay. And do you think that your videos, in a sense, how do I want to pose this? With your videos as well, both in guide content as well as like maybe live streams and just kind of giving an overall feel, do you feel that the HUnewearl is kind of the best representative or like kind of the spokesperson for you and for your channels?
I think so, yeah. I think I think if they've been around the channel for a little while, they probably know this character now. And I think taking her into different games, it kind of gives them a point of reference to follow me into the games as well, that they know who it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still feel that in the later games, though, I am more open to experimenting more with different classes and different races as well.
Okay.
It's mainly just PSO where I'm very, very stubborn and just keep making HUnewearls.
If I may offer, just I'm going to throw this on the wall. You see if it sticks. There's this great class called RACAST. They clunk a lot.
They do clunk a lot.
Have we thought about videos with RACAST? And it doesn't have to be every video, but occasionally one RACAST. Maybe we can even get the history of the clunk clunk sound.
Would you be happy to know that I do possess a RACAST?
In my heart, I knew that we were dear friends because you had a RACAST. You didn't have to tell me. I knew it. In my heart of hearts, my little Android
You can
heart.
just tell.
I was just like, SectionSkyly, of course, awesome, of course has a RACAST. It has to clunk clunk around. Every now and then you have the cute little pitter patter of the HUnewearls, but I need that occasional clunk clunk.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice counterbalance,
Now, with your video formats as well, then, do you feel that there's kind of a type that you enjoy making the most? Like, do you enjoy making guide videos, or do you also enjoy making kind of like the retrospective videos? Because I know that you've done more recently with the recent anniversary back in December of 2025. You did this amazing, just kind of retrospective anniversary video for the Phantasy Star Online franchise, which I think if you guys have not watched it, 1, subscribe to Skyly's channel. 2, watch that video. 3, grab tissues. Get ready for it, because there's some waterworks that happen with that one. Do you feel that there's one that you enjoy making the most, and there's one that you're almost like not necessarily frustrated, but you don't look forward to making them nearly as much as you do others?
So I think special videos like the 25th anniversary one, I did really enjoy doing that. It was a lot of work to do with all the research and everything for it. But I do enjoy doing those, but only now and again for, for like big occasions like the anniversaries, just because they are so much work to do. I do really enjoy doing the class guides, again, mainly for the older games, because I feel like I'm a lot more familiar with the older games. There is a lot of stuff in NGS that goes over my head, so I don't want to do guides on things I'm not too sure on. I think my favorite other content, though, that I've done outside of the big anniversary ones is maybe the lore videos that I've done for PSO. Like going back into the story. I really enjoy that because I think PSO in particular is a game where a lot of people completely overlook the story because it's not immediately presented to you. And I think going through it again and showing people, Rico's journey and Flown's journey in episode 2, I think that's a really, really interesting story in the game. And I think it's something that people deserve to see if they're not aware of it.
Oh, I would completely agree with that. I think if you don't go through the story content, and I know some people who, again, one of the beautiful things about PSO is that you can kind of tackle the story at your pace. You're not really gated by it. You can jump into playing socially. So some people may miss or overlook the story. So I can understand that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
I think it's the way that PSO is. I think the game was ultimately designed as an online game for people to play multiplayer. I think the story, it's not that it's tacked on, but it's done in a way where it's out of the way. So if you don't want to do the story and you just want to run with friends and hunt rares, then you can do that.
Then I'm curious to ask this as well, since it seems like you enjoy the narrative and the lore section as well. Would we possibly see video essays in the future of like other games within the Phantasy Star franchise? Maybe the story behind PSU or even the JRPGs, like the lore and the narrative behind Phantasy Star 4. Is that something that's ever kind of been in the noggin, but it's a mighty undertaking?
It's something I would like to do for some of the games in particular. The classic ones are ones I did want to do, definitely, but I was still going through them at the time when I had the idea. So I thought, right, I want to finish all the main entries first, so I know exactly what I'm talking about, and then I might revisit them and do videos on them. I've done kind of my impressions videos on each of the classic games, but I would like to look into the lore of them at some point as well, because I think it is really, really interesting, particularly Phantasy Star 4.
Demi. Just make sure you highlight Demi. She gets overlooked. She's so little. Just love on her. Just love on her. Just a little bit.
Just do a 30-minute video purely on Demi.
No, actually, what you should do, and this is going to segue into the next question, a video essay that is released on April Fool's where it's who is the best NPC and why is it Rika? And then you just do a whole video on Rika. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I know...
I'll bear that in mind.
Listen, I would watch it anyway. Even though I love androids, I'll always watch anything for Nay and Rika. But in every episode that I do of Margarita's Happy Hour, I do like to get down to the nitty-gritty about personal preferences, which we already know this is no surprise or no secret to us here that you are a huge HUnewearl fan. But
Who'd have thought?
do you have a favorite NPC, or is there a character that you feel that you created, and it could be Teika or any of your alts, that kind of carries special significance for you?
I think of my characters, it's definitely Teika, just because she's been around so long now and been so many games. I've met loads of really, really good people while I've been playing her as well. So she'll always have some really special significance for me for sure. Mm-hmm. I think on the actual NPC side, I've always really, really liked, and she's a super minor character in the scheme of things, but I've always really liked Shino from PSO.
What?
You know, the Recasile from Seek My Master?
Oh, no, I know. You threw me off because I was expecting a Newman, and then you threw in an android.
Don't get me wrong. I love a lot of the Newman characters. You know, I'll always love Nay, Rika, Sue as well in PSO. I'll always love those. But there's something about Shino's story. I know it's a really sad story, Seek My Master, mm-hmm. but I've always really enjoyed that story and the backstory with Shino and Zoke, and just how everything ties together, and just how her personality is affected by the events of that quest as well. She's always been a character that's really resonated with me, even though she's a super minor character that barely appears.
No, you're giving love to a great character, and I support this. I just wasn't expecting it. I was expecting you to be like, I love Sue. And I'd be like, of course. Yes, you love Sue. You kind of threw me out of left field when you threw Shino, because I was like, I'm sorry, more people know who she is? It's hard. And the thing is with the Phantasy Star franchise as a whole, there's a myriad of different characters that are absolutely amazing, even though they have literally not even 5 minutes of fame. They get at most like 2 minutes of fame. But it's a great quest. I don't want to run that quest anytime soon though. I did it once and I was like, okay, I did my part. If I do it,
that's
again,
enough.
Again, the Phantasy Star franchise, with all the stories, again, for a social game, for a social MMO, it's interesting to see how they put a lot of emotional complexity in a lot of the quests that they do, where you're just like, okay, All right. I wasn't expecting this. I was just planning on playing with my friends. Do you feel that you were most drawn in by the narrative of Phantasy Star, or do you feel that you were more thrown in from the social aspect and then you kind of were happily surprised by finding the other?
I think so. PSO, obviously, I think the main draw of it was just the ability to play online with your friends and all get together and go hunting for stuff. That was the initial thing that pulled me into it.
Mm-hmm.
But once I started playing PSO and did the single player story, I actually started thinking, okay, this is kind of interesting. I know there's not a whole lot to it, and a lot of it isn't really directly presented to you. You have to go and look for it and put things together from item descriptions, Rico's messages, and so on. But I really, really like the overall story of PSO. And I think particularly when you do look into all the backstory as well, when you start looking into these item descriptions and piecing little things together, it's a really cool little puzzle that you can start putting in place and figuring out exactly what happened. I think the longer I've been with the Phantasy Star franchise, the narrative has definitely become more important to me, and definitely once I played the classic JRPGs as well. Again, particularly Phantasy Star 4, because the story in that game is incredible.
The story's so good. If you ever get the chance to anybody listening and tuning into today's episode, do yourself a favor. There are JRPGs. If you have a means to pick them up, go check them out. And you don't have to do it in order. I didn't. Still not doing it. Do Phantasy Star 4 first, and then whatever you decide. I always tell people, just do 4 first. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
And if you want to forget that 3 exists, that is totally fine.
We wouldn't judge you. I will not judge you. No, it's okay. Now, do you think then, and this is something I was going to talk about later on, but we're going to kind of just jumble and go all over the place. We're going to vibe here. We're going to vibe.
Sounds good.
Here. Do you think then that the stories of base PSO2 and New Genesis do justice in a similar way that, say, maybe the JRPGs and Phantasy Star Online may do?
That's an interesting one, that. I think base PSO2, I think the story is really, really interesting for base PSO2. I do personally think it's a bit convoluted, in my opinion. I know people who love PSO2 might not like that, but for me, I did find the PSO2 base story a bit convoluted and a bit all over the place. There's time travel, there's, alternate dimensions, and God knows what else. I think the story at its heart is a good story. I just think it jumps around a bit too much to be coherent in places. For New Genesis, I've got to be honest with New Genesis, there isn't really much story to New Genesis at the minute. I'm hoping that changes in April because we are meant to be getting a big story update then. So I'm cautiously optimistic. But at the moment, I think story is definitely not a priority with NGS. I still enjoy the game, but story is definitely not there yet for it.
Okay. And I'm curious to ask as well, just for clarification as well, were you playing PSO2 on the JP servers at all? So they're coming out as the patches were being released, or did you have it kind of received to you all in one lump sum once the global PSO2 is released? I'm just curious.
No, so I started with the second alpha test of the Japanese version of PSO2.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you're okay. That's senpai. That's what you are at this point, because I was a much later. I was later. I was in like 2017 when I started playing, but I was still around when some new chapters had released. But you've been around since that. Okay, that's crazy. Oh well, I'm hopeful for New Genesis, and we're seeing a lot of great comments as well in chat as well. Leon saying, the story is what I first fell in love with this game, since I could only play single player offline when I first tried PSO. And I think that's a very valid point, was there's a lot of players that didn't have the online aspect available to them. And even when I spoke to Sam when he first started playing, he's like, we couldn't afford online. I played that entire game offline. So there is a lot that I learned. So
to be fair, when I started PSO, I think for the first year or so, I was entirely offline as well. So I totally get that.
Yeah, and I almost feel like a lot of people took that route because, one, the internet was a very scary thing at that time. They're like, whoa, playing with other players in real time, that's a little, that could be a little, crazy. So I think a lot of people took the safe route at first before kind of inching their way into the online aspect. And that's not something that you hear about nowadays, because MMOs is just kind of an integral part of its own, genre of gaming. being that I think PSO and chat, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That's probably the first online MMO that I can recall, unless you're considering like Ultima Online or something like that. So I'm curious as to the ratio of how many people started and jumped in on online first, or started and jumped in on offline.
Well, I know for me, I know when I did the 25th anniversary video, I did a poll that asked people if they started offline or online, and for that, I think most people were actually offline only to begin with.
Really?
Yeah, which kind of surprised me, but I suppose again, it's the expense of getting online and everything, isn't it? I suppose, particularly for Dream and well, for the GameCube version, I suppose, and I think maybe version 2. I can't remember if version 1 was free outside of Japan. I'm not sure. But just the the hardware and everything, for the GameCube, you needed the broadband adapter and everything. It's a lot of extra expense for people, I guess, to get online. And then you have the hunter's license as well on some versions.
And it's funny because I think the intrigue and the catch, and you would know much better than I believe that the intrigue and the catch for people kind of being interested in Phantasy Star Online was for the fact of its online aspect. Yet there's so many more people that played on the offline mode. It almost seems like you had one intention, and then it was still remained successful, but just going about and doing something entirely separate of what it was intended to do. How was the promotions and marketing for Phantasy Star Online when it first came out, at least for the GameCube portion? How was that for you when you saw that originally on live?
So when I started playing GameCube, I honestly don't remember seeing any advertisements at all for PSO. I stumbled across it more or less. I think I mentioned this before on my streams, but the way I actually got into it originally was one of my friends invited me over one night, and he knew that I was a huge Final Fantasy fan, and he kept telling me that he'd found this game that was better than Final Fantasy. I think it was Final Fantasy 8 at the time. And he told me to come over and play it. And when I went in there, he was playing PSO. And I tried it out and thought, okay, yeah, this is kind of cool. Okay. But I don't have a GameCube though, so that sucks. I guess I can't play it. And then I went into the town center and bought a GameCube the next day.
It's like I didn't waste a single second. But that's the thing, the LAN party, not even LAN parties. It was really just sleepovers and slumber parties, really. It created this kind of camaraderie. It created this fellowship. And specifically, I believe with the GameCube portion, there was that co-op mode that you could play together. It wasn't necessarily a PvP. It was more cooperative, which, again, it's still, it's obviously relevant today, but it had a strong striking impact because I think that was probably one of the first ones that you saw back in that time.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I played GameCube PSO, the majority of my playtime on it was probably split screen multiplayer with friends. That was a huge selling point of the game, honestly, for me. Just the fact that I could get together with a few friends and we could just, hang out for a few hours, play some PSO. I will always love the split screen side of it.
See, I missed out on all that stuff. I was busy playing Final Fantasy. That was me. But again, it wasn't advertised to me, and it wasn't directed towards me in any way, shape, or form. So I was always just kind of focusing on my JRPGs. Even Diley mentions as well, I didn't like it at first, but I think for a game like this, a light story indirectly told that doesn't resolve much is to its credit. And I do agree with that. It's not something that's gate kept on you. It's not something that's heavily, burdened upon you, but you keep playing through the game, and then you reach a point where you're like, well, why does this happen? And then you're like, well, maybe the story will reveal itself in that way. Lantis also says,
why does this woman keep appearing out of falls?
It's like, she must have had a bad day. Was she hangry? Like, did she just need a Snickers? I could have fixed that. Lantis also mentioned, don't forget to shift your avatar around so you don't get disconnected for being AFK. Thank you, Lantis, for that. I appreciate. Yeah, he's not wrong. It's a fun ride, but it does require close attention, like Kingdom Hearts, classic PSO2. Plus the Hunter's license. Monthly subscription was not something an average kid would be able to afford, setting aside internet access to. Yeah, I completely agree. I just wish it was marketed more. I feel like Sega was like, whatever happens with this game. And this is something that I think we've discussed, either on our collaborative stream or even separately on my stream. Sega's approach to Phantasy Star, it grinds my gears so much. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. Why do you think Sega hates us so much?
why do they hate us so much? Yeah, it's almost like they forget the franchise exists. I know we've got NGS. I know NGS is doing its own thing, but I kind of feel that just because we've got NGS doesn't mean that we can't have, a JRPG, for example, or re-releasing some of the older games that we can't play anymore. It would be nice to have that. I know we've all obviously got Blizzard playing PSO, shout out to all the private servers, but it would be just nice if they would acknowledge that Phantasy Star exists more than just NGS. Yeah. It kind of feels like we get almost nothing, even for the PSO 25th anniversary, outside of a bit of merch and an update in NGS. There really wasn't a whole lot to it.
I'm trying to find the best way to put this, because I know that, one, you are an official NGS content creator, so of course you support Sega and you support PSO2 New Genesis. I feel that in some ways, and I know that they are very much of the mentality of what's in the past should be left in the past. I grow frustrated, and this is personally, I want to be very clear that I'm speaking on behalf of solely myself and only myself. I feel frustrated at the fact that I know, and I'm very well aware that there was a period of time where PSO2 specifically was kind of keeping Sega afloat. And there's no statistics and there's no facts to that. That's just with the microtransaction system and the cosmetics and AC scratches that were available, that was what was keeping Sega, if not financially afloat, it was keeping them relevant. And so I also have to give Sega to its credit the fact that they are well aware of their previous games kind of being abandonware at this point and being publicly, they publicly recognize that private servers exist and they don't give us a hard time about them, which I'm okay with. I'm like, they could have went in a different direction, but like, well, you can't play that.
Oh yeah.
So I'm thankful to that credit as well. It's just very frustrating because I feel that there's more relevance on New Genesis because the private servers exist and because this abandonware still exists and is relevant. So I don't know if you feel the same way.
Part of me wonders if the reason that they don't re-release PSO is because the private servers are doing well. Maybe it could even be that Sega just think, do you know what, this is covered. We're not going to make enough money from a 20-odd-year-old game if we re-release it. Private servers are doing well. Is there any point in re-releasing it?
I agree with that as well. I do. It's a touchy topic that I walk on eggshells with speaking about, because I see two different camps. I see the camps of, I want PSO to be released back on Sega as a regular title, but then I also see people that are like, no, we have all these quality of life features. We have everything that we need in the private servers. There's nothing that needs to be changed, and it kind of puts you between being stuck between a rock and a hard place. And do you ever experience, as a NGS creator, do you ever experience people talking to you about the classic PSO titles and maybe them making the comments of, do you ever think that Sega's going to re-release or do a remaster of Phantasy Star Online? Or what's your take on that? Do you ever encounter that?
I mean, to be fair, I get a lot of comments on my NGS videos that are basically, NGS sucks, bring back PSO. There is a lot of that.
Fans, please, no, don't do that. Don't do that, please.
There are some other comments as well that will say, I really wish PSO would be brought back. I really enjoyed the older games. I wish that Sega would, remaster or whatever. But it is frustrating because as an NGS creator, you do find that a lot of the comments are just slandering NGS and talking about the other games. And I get that people don't vibe with NGS as much, but without NGS at the minute, there is no Phantasy Star.
Even and to add on to that, without New Genesis, there isn't new younger audiences learning about PSO, because if as a starting point, and I say this from the content creator end of things, people who watch my PSO2 New Genesis streams, when they look at, let's say, like my avatar model, or they're like, well, why did you make this character? Who is this Demi that you're speaking of? I'm like, oh, that's from a Phantasy Star JRPG. They're like, Phantasy Star had a JRPG. It does give an introduction. It does kind of break through the older content. And I think that's kind of something that, there are some content creators that approach it that way, that, where we are now, it started from someplace else. And this is where it started from. And then that's where you start, going through your experience and your history. I think you are one of there's a lot of amazing official NGS creators, and I think there's a lot of prominent figures within the official NGS content creator community. But I think you're one of the ones that is very, very vocal and very verbal about the fact of, oh, this is how it was in the past. This is what it was like.
Yeah.
This is what you do. So I'm always hopeful that maybe Sega will just throw us a bone at some point. Maybe any day now. I'm here, not getting any younger.
You know, it's the Phantasy Star 40th anniversary in 2027, so there's a chance.
I gave up. I gave up on those chances. I have literally, we chatted about this, I think, on the collab or even just privately, you know, between DMs. I remember when they released the TTRPG book, and my DMs were blown up. Pizza, did you see they released a TTRPG book? I'm like, what? And I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
When any Phantasy Star news is released, it's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal, especially if Sega Senpai noticed it. We're just like, oh, okay. Yuji Naka, you said, here, you can have this.
I kind of feel like we're all just like scavenging for scraps at this point. Like anything Phantasy Star related, we'll take it, Sega. Just give us anything.
I've taken so many weapon camos. I have blown so much Meseta in New Genesis for dual bird and twin Kamoys. I'm like, I won't ever get anything else like this. There's also another comment that came in from chat from Boink Redo that says, does Sega look at PSO in the same vein as other companies were disappointed their MMO didn't kill WoW? That's a great question.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because I suppose PSO is such an old game now, and it kind of predated a lot of those games. I guess when they went to PSO 2, I mean, to be honest, PSO 2 in Japan did do really, really well. I don't know how it did in comparison to games like WoW, but I know it was very, very popular in Japan at least. I don't know. It's just strange how the way they treat the franchise in general at the moment. I really don't know why it is neglected so much. The only other thing I think of is because Sega are obviously in with Atlas now as well. Obviously, Atlas do a lot of really, really good JRPGs, and I kind of wonder if like they've taken priority over the JRPG side.
But they could give them the licensing and the royalties easily. I mean,
They could.
And I'm not saying I'm not asking for a Phantasy Star 1, 2, 3, or 4 remaster or a remake, but they could take Phantasy Star 5. They could, and I would give it a fair, you know, I'd give it the good old college football try if that's what they wanted to do. And that was kind of a thought that, you know, stuck in the back of my noggin, where I was like, all right, you have your Personas, you have your Metaphor Refantasios, you have those. You don't have something space age. There's Star Ocean out there. There's the Xenogears and the Xenoblade sagas. It has a genre. It has a place for it. And you could give something modernized, but it just hasn't happened. Or maybe it's happening and we just don't know it. I don't know.
Unless they just feel that the NGS covers that base, you know, with NGS having a story. I know, again, there's not much to it yet, but unless they feel that PSO2 and NGS kind of covers that. I would disagree with that because I think NGS and PSO2 are very, very different games.
Oh, for sure.
I would love to see like a traditional JRPG out the franchise, but whether it ever happens, I'm not particularly confident.
I'm in agreement with you where I could never see NGS kind of filling that void, because in a lot of respects, and when I explain to people when they ask, what's NGS like? I'm like, it's a science fiction, space, fantasy monster hunter. That's the best description I can give you. When you play New Genesis, pretend you're playing Monster Hunter. That's the best I got. So I don't think it technically, you know, kind of fills that gap. Diley also mentioned another point. Not following through on releasing PSO2 in the West is certainly one of the decisions of all time. I'm curious why that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that sounds like peak short-term decision-making.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened with the original PSO2 release in the West, because they announced it and everything, and I believe it was actually at an E3 one year on the stalls. And then it just disappeared for a few years until, I think it was at E3 2019, I think it came back. I really don't know why it was delayed so much.
Between you, me, and the lamppost, my tinfoil hat theory on this, and this is not to say whether this is, right, or if I've received, any type of like whistleblower information. I think it's purely legal. I think it was legal, and I think it was all financial, why the delay was.
Okay.
And I think because Sega, I think during that time between 2012 and 2019 was such a downward slope. I'm gonna give this take, and I'm saying it, and I'll probably die on this hill. But them giving PSO2 to Xbox was a last minute desperation. That was a break in case of emergency. That was not their first choice, and I don't think that was their intention from the jump. And it just feels very like you could visually see that they weren't happy with it. And I don't think Xbox knew how to roll out base PSO2 in the West. I don't think they had any idea in their noggin as to how to do it, how to release 6 episodes of, stories, and the rollout that they did for it. Because if you recall the timeline for it, it was a lot. It was very overwhelming. I think that was also part of their downfall. That was one of the decisions that I don't necessarily agree with.
I mean, I think my opinion is that the only reason that we even got PSO2 based in the first place is because of NGS releasing. I think if NGS wasn't planned, I don't think we would have got PSO2 at all.
Is it wrong of me to say, and this is probably gonna get me in trouble, not necessarily get me in trouble, but do you feel like NGS was part and parcel of the package? Almost like, we'll release base PSO2 on the condition that we can do an Xbox exclusive this game. Like, I almost feel like in some ways NGS was never meant to be Sega's game. I think it was Xbox's idea, but kind of plastering it with the Sega and the entire Phantasy Star aesthetic. I don't know if that's out of turn for me to say or if that's out of line, but that's the impression that I got from it, because I was like, this isn't fit. Why are you keeping the 2? This is Phantasy Star 3. Don't lie. Don't lie to the fans. We're not dumb. But I don't feel like in a lot of ways that's what Sega wanted to release. I think Sega went along with it because it was, again, part and parcel with the package.
Yeah, it is interesting as well, because if you look at the Japanese side, again, I could be wrong on this, but I don't think PSO2 was on Xbox on the Japanese side. I think it was only like PC, PlayStation, and there was like cloud version on Switch, I think. Mm-hmm. So it is odd that they only did the Xbox version in the West. Now, that could just be because Xbox isn't popular in Japan. Yeah, that could be the reason. Mm-hmm. But it is strange, though, that we didn't get it on PlayStation originally. I'm pretty sure it was just Xbox originally, wasn't
it? At launch back in March 2020, you had the beta, and the beta was exclusive to just Xbox players. And then I think when they ended up going live, which was roughly around May of 2021, it was the Microsoft Store and Xbox cross-platform before it was later released through Steam. And then I think a year following that, in like 2022, possibly 2023, is when they finally released it on Sony and Epic Games.
Okay.
So it was a very weird, wonky timeline. So it's very interesting to see. It's very interesting to see what it's become now, and I'm glad that there's people that are recognizing. And again, I kind of sound like a broken record with this. I'm glad to see that people are recognizing Phantasy Star Online 1, but Sega really didn't hit that. Like, that one was a foul ball. That was supposed to be a home run, and it kind of struck more like a foul ball. So. But
I think it was good for people, I suppose, who never got to play the Japanese version of PSO2 originally. I guess it gave them a way to play it. So I think it's a success in that regard, because there was a group of players that never played the Japanese version, whether it was that they didn't know how to register for it, or maybe the ping was too high to play it or something. Mm-hmm. So I think it was good that it came to the West for sure, but I just don't know what the circumstances for it were and why it went to Xbox. Unless a deal fell through with PlayStation or something originally, I don't know.
I don't know what the relationships were like between, and I'm being brutally honest, I don't know what the relationships were like between Sony and Xbox with Sega. And I feel like there's probably a lot that will never be public domain in that regard, but we just kind of... Oh, yeah,
definitely.
I can't see them being like, well, this is why it happened. It's like, no, it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I
We saw you talking about it, and we're going to tell you everything.
I just I do think though that I do understand the difficulties because I played on the Japanese PSO2 servers as far back as 2017. I remember setting up a Sega ID. I will never ever do that again. I will not change my password unless asked to. Like, I will never go through the account creation process for Sega ID ever again. And
Well, it was a nightmare.
listen, the Arc Slayer crew and the PSO2 Tweaker crew, you are the real MVPs, because I also remember many stories, which I'm gonna bring up after we go into our ad break. But there's a very funny anecdote from when it went live on the Microsoft Live stores, and I think had it not been for the PSO2 Tweaker team, I think that could have been kind of catastrophic for the state of base PSO2 going out, at least on the PC portion. But what we are going to do is we are going to take just a quick, brief 3-minute break. I hope you'll stay with me, Skyly. During that time, though, folks, if you need to get up, stretch, grab something to eat, grab something to drink, we have so much more to chat about. There is so many amazing discussions I'm ready to just pick Skyly's brain on. So feel free to stick around. But if you are a subscriber of the channel, you'll get to continue to watch ad-free, so you can just hear us banter and have good times. But we will be right back. It's a quick 3-minute ad break, so please stick around. Okay, so we got the ad break going. I see.
Okay.
I don't know if you're looking at chat. Chat is like, oh,
Yeah,
let
yeah.
me tell you something. Hold on. Let me pull up a chair. Let me pull up my Photon chair, because I got some words about this Skyly pizza. I'm like, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But it is. There's just so much interesting discussion about that. I think you are one of the best community figures to talk about it, because I think that you have your hands in so many different parts of Phantasy Star. I feel like you are kind of like a great judge of character for those takes. So I'm really glad that you're on the show.
I'm glad you think that.
You don't think that either? You gotta think that too about yourself. You gotta be like, yeah, I got this. And I'm actually curious to ask you, and I didn't have it in the interview questions, I wanted to ask about the Japan trip as well, and kind of gauge, because once you mentioned Japan with the Xbox, I was like, oh, we're going to talk about that. I would love to get some questions about Japan in there, because I saw photos. I want to know what merch you picked up.
Yeah, I mean, anything you want to ask during this is absolutely fine. Like, don't feel you have to stick to just the ones you asked. That's totally fine.
Okay, cool. I think, like, I have these questions here, but you are very much, like, this is going to be very freeform, off the cuff. Like, we gonna vibe. We're gonna vibe. I'm like, oh, Skyly respectfully is matching my freak right now, because I just have so many questions that I kind of want to pick your brain on and get your insight on. But
No, that sounds good.
there's some questions also coming in from chat. I'm gonna see. I also want to make sure that I ask the chat interview questions as well, so I might even pick up with that as well. So, commercial break. Time to go outside and screw my new mailbox onto the post. Minsk, I support you. I support you with that. Phantasy Star.
Yeah, Minsk does a lot of that kind of stuff. I think he's a very much a handyman.
Minsk,
Yeah, he's one of mine.
Okay, that's a Farla fam? Oh, what up,
He is,
Farla
yeah.
fam? Minsk, if you haven't gone to go screw on the new mailbox, what up? Hi. I saw Sherrod is also in here as well as Mist. Oh, so many awesome folks. Yeah. Hey, Miss. How are you? Hey, Sherida. What is up? Oh, man. Phantasy Star Online 2 initially launched in the West exclusively on Xbox PC. It helped bankroll, localize, and publish the Western version of the game. Thank you for that, Sherida. Thank you. I wonder if NGS would have gone over better if they didn't stitch it into PSO2. Ooh.
That's a really interesting one, actually.
That's a thought. That's a thought. I can tell you my answer, but it's gonna come off sounding angry. I'm gonna let you take this one. We're back. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys had a good 3-minute stretch. Hopefully the ads treated you well. I think sometimes they give you guys Taco Bell. I keep hoping that they'll give you guys pizza ads, but they've never listened to me. No Radio Shack ads. Never, ever.
Subliminal advertising.
It's right. Now, there's a good, we're going through and looking through what chat was saying. And I also know that there's also some fan submitted questions that I also wanted to ask you as well. But I want to tackle this one because we're still on this discussion. I wonder if New Genesis would have gone over better if they didn't stitch it into PSO2. If they made it its own standalone PSO3. What do you think?
I think it might have been a better idea to separate the two, personally. I think the issue with NGS is obviously it's got PSO2 in the name, so a lot of people thought maybe it was just an expansion to PSO2, which would be a really reasonable take to have because, loads of other games have done that. So you would think it would stand to reason that New Genesis would just be an expansion to PSO2. I think making it kind of its own game, but also connected, but also not, is a really weird way of doing it. I know there is some hint that the stories might end up connecting at some point, but the fact is when you log in, you either log into PSO2 or PSO2 NGS, and for the most part, they are completely separate entities. It's just such a weird way of doing it. I do feel if they'd have marketed NGS as a PSO3, maybe it would have sold better, but I suppose maybe they've had these plans to link the story for a long time, which wouldn't have worked if it was a PSO3.
I have a conspiracy theory about it because this is something that has come up in discussion. I do believe that PSO3 would have gone better. I think that there was a situation based on timing and deadlines, and I think that they were supposed to be separate entities. I think that there was a timing issue that New Genesis wasn't going to roll out, and they were going to have a long gap between base PSO2 and New Genesis. So I think that they essentially merged them together, similar to what you saw in the maybe like Final Fantasy 14 era pre of Realm Reborn into a Realm Reborn, where it almost gave the player base this feeling of being a legacy character. There's something that I've noticed with a lot of Final Fantasy 14 players. The legacy players are held in this very high regard, and they're kind of given this special snowflake treatment with, their own special, neck tattoo or something crazy like that. But I think they realized that there was a timing issue that didn't work with PSO2 and PSO3 aligning. And so I think what they ended up doing was just a last minute scrap of merging the two together to at least get awareness out on New Genesis, attaching the two to it so that people could still recognize, oh, this is PSO2, and that's what was released. But I don't think that they were intended to be, a connection of them. I think they did that as a last minute, like, oh, we got to make sure that we get the player base. What if we make them feel like these legacy characters that can go back and forth between two worlds? And it's made more problems than it's done solutions.
I think the other thing with that as well is obviously anyone that was there for NGS's launch knows it was incredibly rough, and there really was pretty much nothing to do in the game when it launched. It was really, really bare bones. And that to me kind of makes me think, was NGS pulled forward? Was it rushed out? It kind of felt like it when it released because there was next to nothing to do. And, the servers were really laggy. I think you had Alio with a couple of areas, and that was about it. Next to no story. It was a very, very rough experience when it launched. And the only thing I could get from it is this game feels like it's been rushed out.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it's like a shareholders thing or a financial decision to push it early.
That's kind of where I'm at, because it's not necessarily the deadline crunch in terms of release. It's because we need to make this much quota by the end of this quarter before the shareholders call. That was kind of where I was leading at. I didn't want to say it outright because I was like, I don't know if that's rude to say, but yeah.
I mean, I will say I know I'm an NGS creator, but I will point out things with the game that I don't agree with.
Good.
I like to stay as impartial as I can. So
no, that's why. And I never want to like press or pry if there's ever anything that's considered taboo. But that's kind of where I was at. I was like, oh, they had him reach a number by a certain point, and it messed up. But it messed up as far back as, and we're just talking about this. Before we went to the ad break, when they were releasing PSO2 on the Xbox, base PSO2 specifically. I remember it was, we're going through this beta period. Oh, the game's live. And everyone who was an Xbox player was like, oh. And then all of these people just started flooding in via the Xbox. We're like, well, okay. And then when it came time for it to be released on Steam, that was a nightmare because the Microsoft Store sucks ass in the nicest possible way. It sucks absolute ass that people are like, I can't play, I can't get in. Biggest issue I noticed was a lot of my EU friends who were unable to create accounts because of the way the Microsoft Store works, within regions, and it was very frustrating for them. And this only saving grace that we had at the time, and this is why I give so much credit to the Arc Slayer crew and the PSO2 tweaker, was they were able to get everything up and running so that if you could not make an account on Steam, you could still not Steam, if you couldn't make an account on the Microsoft Store, you could still make an account and play the game on your PC through the PSO2 tweaker from the Microsoft Store, because it was giving so many issues about the file size and it directly downloading, I believe, on your C drive was what the biggest issue was, I recall, at the time. So had it not been for Arc Slayer and the PSO2 tweaker people, I don't think PSO2 on base or base PSO2 on PC would have had any type of longevity. It was an absolute nightmare, and they were just scrambling around, and many of my friends were scrambling around. Sam and I were scrambling around trying to help our friends out as best possible during that time, and it sucked because I believe it was May of 2021, something like that, and then Steam came out, and that was, everybody was just like, okay, I don't need to use the tweaker anymore. I can just download it off of Steam.
Yeah, I think everyone just jumped to Steam at that point, didn't they?
Yeah. I'm annoyed that they gutted the original PSO2 experience for it. The way that they released the PSO2 experience for it, and Skyly, please jump in at any point on this, didn't they have a rolling timeline of, and they tried to do incentives with it as well, where they would release episode 1 and 2, and then if you completed those episodes, you would get some type of limited edition in-game items, and then they did 3 and 4 at a certain interval, and then they released in-game items, and then they just did the last 2 episodes. So
yeah, I think that's one issue as well with NGS as well. I think a lot of people who play it and have issues with it are comparing it to the English version of PSO2, which got a lot of content in a very, very short space of time comparatively. I think if they'd have played the Japanese version, content was rolled out very, very slowly. You quite often had a couple of weeks between updates, and I think that might have swayed people's opinions on NGS a little bit.
Yeah.
I think just because the way that PSO2 was delivered in the West, it was just a ridiculous amount of content in a very short space of time. And then when NGS did go live, it comparatively just felt like it had nothing.
Well, now this is, I think, when you go into the comparisons of JP and NA, I think one of the biggest topics that we need to discuss as well is the reception of PSO2 in the West, versus, PSO2 in Japan. You were very fortunate enough to be able to travel to Japan, and I know that you were able to go to a couple of the pop-up shops and stuff and stores. I'm curious as to what you got as a vibe about PSO2 or Phantasy Star Online in general over in Japan, as well as what you know from experience from having played from the GameCube days.
I mean, I think the Japanese player base has always been very, very enthusiastic about the franchise. I would say it seems like a much bigger franchise in Japan compared to over here, although I think it is still fairly niche, is probably fair to say. When I went to the pop-up shops and everything in Japan, most of the people that I met there were old PSO1 players. It was very rare to see anyone that was playing PSO2, honestly, which kind of surprised me. I thought there might have been quite a big PSO2 player presence there, but it wasn't the case to the one I went to. Even looking around trying to find merch of anything, there was very, very little for anything Phantasy Star. I think about the only things I found were, apart from the official pop-up shop, was some stuff for PSO2 ES, which is the mobile game. That was about it. It seemed very, very niche even over there.
It's very intriguing to me to see what the take is, because there are still some things that we are very limited to here stateside that I know are available over there. Sega, I'm gonna say it, give me the virtual on AC Scratch. Quit being a freaking coward. Give me my Feiyun armor camo and let me live my best Feiyun life. I'm still mad about that. But there is definitely a bit of a discrepancy between what's available in Japan and what's available in North America. And I didn't know if that was because there's still such a big following. I'm curious to ask this question. And trying to think how I want to say this. I'm just going to say it. Do you think it would just be better if it was a portable game, kind of like the old PSP, PS Vita days, and they just released it only on the Switch? If New Genesis was released solely for the Nintendo Switch, do you think it would have had a better following?
I don't think so. I know the portable games are really popular in Japan for the most part, but I think releasing it across several consoles and particularly including PC, I think does give it a better player spread overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the way that it is probably better in my opinion. I just don't think the way that the releases were planned in the West in particular were very good.
Well, the thing is I know that there is the Switch version of New Genesis available in Japan. I actually own a copy of it just for collection's sake. I don't think that there's a North American Switch version. They could have released it.
There isn't, no.
And I don't understand why they didn't release it. I don't know if that's a licensing thing or what, but I feel like that's a missed opportunity from Sega and Nintendo. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose. But I think
that goes back to PSO2 base as well, because there was a Switch Cloud version in Japan as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
for some reason, just never over here. I don't know why.
And I'm there. I'm like, we're already up to the Switch 2, and we still haven't gotten it. And then, of course, like you mentioned as well, you mentioned the mobile version, PSO2 ES. I have been waiting, not necessarily with bated breath, but I've been waiting for them to announce some version of Phantasy Star Online on the mobile, and they haven't done it. And I'm like, why? Why have you not done it? That makes no sense to me.
And the really funny thing about ES is because we get a lot of the same content as Japan for NGS, we've just had a scratch on NGS with PSO2 ES outfits in it, despite the fact you can't play it over here.
And people don't know who the PSO2 ES characters are. That's my favorite. Yeah. A lot of the new player base is just like, who's Annette? Who's Jean? And I'm like, yeah, it's a great story. You should really play it. You should try it out. Oh, where's that available? Can I pick it up at a store? I'm like, no, you cannot. You have to literally region unlock your phone. Ask me how I know.
Man, to be fair, they do have a history with that, though. You know, PSP2 Infinity, things like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, they have a habit of releasing things in Japan and then just never arriving in the West. Or like PSO2, it arrives, but nearly a decade later.
I don't. Again, maybe.
What are you doing, Sega?
Well, I don't even. But this is the thing. I don't want to blame it on Sega. In my heart, I don't want to blame Sega. But Sega makes it very hard for me not to blame them. Like it's a recurring issue where I'm like, I want to be mad at someone. I don't want to be mad at them. I just don't understand where the decisions are. But then you have a lot of games that are played in both regions, like Sonic Crossworlds, and you have yet to put some type of cameo from Phantasy Star in there. Give me a Rupica driver. You can have me drive a photon chair. I'm throwing options at you guys, and nothing. Just, pass the shoulder. Dust off your shoulder. I'm like,
we got a Rappy in Sonic Rumble.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We did. That's our collab for the year.
All right. Got that Rappy. Great. Thanks, Sega.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Japanese companies don't realize PC gaming outside of Japan was big until relatively recently. PSO2 ES was the only way to add money to your account. I needed more mags. Oh, the struggle with PSO2 ES. I remember having many a late nights of people helping me figure out how to install that onto my phone, and I refuse to take it off because that's one of my only connections to my JP character. So, and not to mention the fan festas. And did you happen to go to any events? Like, were there any PSO2 events while you were out in Japan? Did you happen to go to any?
No. So the only thing that was on when I was there was the pop-up shop. So for the 25th anniversary of PSO, they did 2 pop-up shops, one in Shinjuku and one in Akihabara, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
I went to the Shinjuku one, but that was the only thing I managed to do while I was there.
So, just coming in with the hard-hitting questions, what did you end up picking up while you were over there? What merch did you get?
I spent so much money. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. This pop-up shop. So I landed in Japan on, I think it was on the Sunday, and the PSO pop-up shop was the next day, and that was the last day of the pop-up shop. So I had to go to it like the day after I landed. So one, I was very, very jet lagged. Two, didn't really know where it was. Had to kind of figure it out. Eventually managed to get there. By the time I'd finished in the shop, I think I'd spent a third of my entire holiday budget in that one shop, and then was thinking, oh no, oh no.
I'll be eating lots of ramen, a lot of vending machine,
Yeah.
egg salad sandos from 7-Eleven. I'm fine. I'm good. I can make this.
I went in and I thought, right, I'm going to buy something because obviously I love Phantasy Star. I'm obviously going to buy something. I got in and just thought, I need everything.
Where
I
was the
did restrain
control?
myself somewhat. There was some things I didn't buy, so although that was mainly because I couldn't fit it in the suitcase.
Was there buyer's remorse of not buying those things after the fact, where you're like, I could have fit it. I could have fit it in.
I think I was okay because the things that I didn't get were the things I weren't as bothered about, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What did really annoy me is, so I went to the first pop-up shop, and then I think it was about a month later, they did the one in Akihabara.
Mm-hmm.
And for the one in Akihabara, they had way more stuff. They had Rappy plushies and everything, which weren't at the first one, and I was so mad.
Oh no. And the worst part is you see those things, but then you see them upscaled and sold on eBay. You're like, no, that's disrespectful. You savages. You savages. I could have bought that when I was there if you just released it there. But you had shown a lot of different things that I wasn't aware of. Like there was, I think, a Phantasy Star Online one tote bag. Red Ring Rico's earrings was a keychain. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Are you for real right now? Do you have a personal actually, this actually came as a submitted question too. I'm actually look at me segueing. This actually came in from Sherida. My question to Skyly is, what collectible PSO item or memorabilia would you like to own the most that you do not already have? And this isn't including in-game items or rares.
That I don't already have. That's a really, really tough one. So I know there are some PSO statues that were released. I think it was PSO Dreamcast. They did one of HUMA, one of HUnewearl, and one of what was the third one? I'm trying to think now. HUnewearl, that was the third one. I think they're about 12-inch tall, like cast statues. They don't even look that great, honestly. Like the paint jobs are really sketchy on them. The faces are not great on them or anything, but they're rare. And there's a HUnewearl one.
I know which one you're talking about. It's I think Sue, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
It is, yeah.
I've seen the Sue and the Rupica one. I don't know if I've seen the RACAST one. So
They are. Yeah, it's HUMA, HUnewearl, and HUnewearl.
Oh, Humor. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, who wants HUMA? You know. I'd love the HUnewearl one or the HUnewearl one, but I've seen them pop up a couple of times on eBay, and they are ridiculously expensive, and I just can't justify it.
I want you to know I've also looked at them and I went, I could own this, but if I drop that money, the first question I'm gonna hear is, where are we gonna put that? And I go, about that. Didn't think that far ahead.
I think about that after you've got it. You know, that's usually my plan. I got all this stuff, got home and thought, oh, I've got nowhere to put this.
Well, now what items did you end up picking up, and do you have any particular favorites from when you were in Japan?
Yeah, so there is a series of magazines, which they actually didn't announce were going to be at the store. There's a series of magazines called P-Spec, which I think is Phantasy Star Players Enjoy Club, I think it stands for. It's like a series of magazines. There's like artworks that people have done. There's interviews with developers and everything in them. It's like an ongoing series. So there was 6 episodes of that, which I got. Annoyingly, again, at the Akihabara shop, they then announced an episode 7. So I am now missing one.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was quite annoying. I also got, there was a PSO2 materials collection book, which I think is a lot of artwork and stuff, but I gave that away as part of a giveaway. I also got, I'm just looking at my storage cabinet now to remind myself what I actually bought. That's kind of depressing.
All in beautiful glass display. You're just like, here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got to send photos. You do have it in a glass display? Go ahead.
Oh, I will do, yeah. I will send you some. I got some acrylic stands. So I got an acrylic stand of Red Ring Rico. one of Flowen, one of the Principal, and obviously one of HUnewearl. I also got. It's a really stupid thing, this, but it's basically a little acrylic stand, and they market it as a noodle topper. So I think the idea is you put it on top of a cup noodle, and it keeps your cup noodles warm. But it's shaped like Dark Falls from PSO.
Oh, I want it. What? I'm gonna go on eBay. I'm going on a journey.
Yeah. I will show you that after the stream. What else did I get? I got a NGS Rappy like pin badge. I got it's like a huge gaming mouse pad that has all the heroines from PSO, PSO2, and NGS.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, and I also got a couple of Section ID badges, which were random pick ones, and I'm very annoyed that I didn't get Skyly.
Wait. They were like random gotcha where you just didn't know which one you were going to get?
Yeah.
Which ones
So
did you
there
end up
was,
getting?
well, there was a box set you could buy, but it was sold out when I got there. They only had the random ones left. So I ended up I got White Hill, Purple Num, and Blue Full.
That's right.
I mean, I'll take that because I do have a Purple Num.
That's right. Purple Num, what's up? That's right. Purple Num gang, rise
And to be
up.
fair, there was another collab with Limited Run Games, and I did get the Section ID badges from that, so I do have a Skylight badge, so I'm okay.
I know that Limited Run Games collection. I did not pick up any of the badges, but I did pick up the acrylic standees as well as the trading cards and the sleeves. So it was a good collection too. It was a great collection. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't get Skyly. But you have Skyly in this capacity as well, though. So
I do.
oh man, we're gonna have to compare notes. I've got some wonderful things I would love to show you photos of as well. I do have a couple of collections of things as well. I don't think it's as cool as your collection.
Say, yeah.
Mine are more books and stuff like that. So
I've got a couple of books as well. But yeah, I mean, I can show you some of that after stream. One thing I do just want to quickly touch on as well is while I was there, I did also go to a retro game store in Akihabara. If people are familiar with it, it's quite a well-known one called Super Potato. They basically have a ton of retro game stuff in there. A lot of it is very, very overpriced, but I did manage to pick up a Japanese copy of Phantasy Star 2 and Phantasy Star 3 while I was there.
oh, complete.
I
in
looked
box?
for 4. Yeah, so the Phantasy Star 3 doesn't have the manual, but it's box and carriage. 2 has the manual and everything with it.
That's nice. That is a nice collection to have.
I really wanted 4. I could not find it while I was there, but I have bought that since.
That's literally I got that as a 40th birthday present. I was like, what? It's mint condition, complete in box with the manual? Oh man. It's nice to have do you also have the original Phantasy Star for the, I think it's the Mega Drive version, if I'm not mistaken? Or the Master System version?
No, I'm still looking for that. I'm just trying to find one at a decent price. I've got the remake that was on Switch, the Sega Ages one. But yeah, I'd like to get a physical copy of the Master System one if I can.
It's nice because
I'm also looking for, and this is kind of a holy grail, I'm trying to find a European copy of Phantasy Star 4, because while I can play the Japanese one that I've got, because I've got a PAL Mega Drive, it runs slow. So I'm trying to find a PAL copy of Phantasy Star 4, but they are like gold dust. They are so rare.
I was going to say, I know they exist online. It depends on what you're willing to invest and pay. That's that's the caveat to it. With Phantasy Star 4 specifically, as well as Phantasy Star 2, I've noticed that those are the ones that are a pain. And if you can find the hard shell copy of the Master System version of Phantasy Star, I didn't realize how rare those were until I stumbled upon it in a store. And I just dropped the money. And I told myself, I'll get over it. I'll get over the price. Happy birthday to me. I'll get over the price. So, PSO Rice Cooker 1, Red Ring Rice Cooker. I can get behind that. Oh, it's, again, the collection, and I know a lot of people give me a hard time. They're like, you don't even have the systems for it. You can't play that. I go, there's something about having the collection of it that is important. Like, I would like to also pick up like the Gunplas or the like model hobby kits of like the RACAST that I need to just, bear down and finally buy them. I'm like, there's so many.
I have one of those.
Wait, which one do you have? Which color do you have?
Well, I've got for the model kit ones, I've got the one that looks like Eleanor, but it's kind of like a redesigned version of her. I honestly wouldn't recommend that one personally. I don't know if anyone else had the same problem with it, but mine is it's been super fragile ever since I got it and breaks all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I've repaired it over and over again. There is another RACAST figure you can get though, which I would recommend, which is there's a Bandai figure. I think it's I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I think it's a company called Bandai Chogokin, I think it is. And you can get an Eleanor one, or there is a recolored version that's black and it comes with an alternate head that makes it look like Shino.
Yes, I know that one. I've seen that one. I've seen that one.
Yeah, I have that one as well.
Oh, I have to pick up one of them. The ones that I do have was, and this is one of the big reasons with PSO2, they worked with, I think it was Kotobukiya doing the frame arms line. So they did a special version of frame arms with PSO2 characters. I actually have an unbuilt part of a cast. It looks like it's a cast braver or some relevant of like a HUnewearl where she's wearing all red armor and she has pink hair. I'm very nervous about building it though because I'm afraid I've heard nothing but horror stories about how the plastic pieces are so fragile they can just snap, like even the sword parts, that I'm like, I don't know if I should touch it. I want to build it, but I don't know if I should touch it. I'm afraid of breaking it. So
have you ever built anything like model kits before?
Oh yes, I do actually a lot of different Gunpla. I sometimes do them here on stream. If someone redeems them, I'll sometimes do them on here. I've done a lot of the Bandai Namco ones. I have a lot of different Gundams. I have Nobel, I have Sazabi, Femina, and there was one that I recently did on stream. Oh, Ariel from The Witch from Mercury. And I also have a couple Master Grades ones that I still need to work on.
So is this a bad time to say that I also collect Gunpla?
Skyly, why were we separated at birth? Why are you an android? You're not a HUnewearl. Stop lying to people. You're secretly an android. Just come join. Just show your true RACAST form. Come hang out with me because we were truly separated at birth. So you do collect Gunpla as well?
I do, yeah. I am running out of space rapidly, so I've kind of put a stop on it for the time being until I get more space. But yeah, I do have a few. I think the last one I built was... I think the last one I did was Master Grade Barbatos from Iron Blooded Orphans.
Oh, I have the Master Grade Kyrios from Gundam 00 that I have not touched yet. I'm like, one of these days I'm going to do it. Clanker mindset. That's right, Pika. Listen, Farla fam, I'm going to just throw an idea out there. The next time Skyly streams live, which I believe is tomorrow, you should just start asking him, when are you going to show your true RACAST form? Just ask him. Just be like, you play Gunpla. You have a friend named Pizza who's an android. Just show your RACAST form. I know that you play a HUnewearl, but you're secretly a RACAST inside. I feel like you're RACASting in the closet, and I don't know how I feel about this. Come out with it. Just let your inner clunk come out. Farla fan, that
is a problem. Every time we walk around, the loud clunks everywhere. It is becoming a bit of a problem. So maybe that is true.
If I listen, it's a good noise. Have you tried making a video of just clunk ASMR? I feel like you would have a much better reach and visibility than I would with that.
I have not thought of doing that personally, but yeah, if there is a demand for that, let me know.
Watch how fast I start submitting comments on your YouTube channel. I will do it on every YouTube video. Be like, where's my clunk ASMR? Thumbs up, by the way.
Logged into like 10 different accounts, like ASMR went.
Sam, log into YouTube. I need you to do me a solid. Make it work. But is Cast more human than Clanker, though? It's a matter of personal opinion. Pizza Mate isn't really a RACAST. She's a phone world named Pizza Mate. This is true. I've attempted to play a Force before. I'm not very good at it. But I play it. I have one. One day I'll pick up a phone noom as well. You watch. And when that day comes, me and Skyly are going to do another collab. We have an idea. Don't think I forgot about it. We're going to do it.
Oh yes, that one. Yeah.
I'm thinking. I honestly am considering just naming that character Delete and just going delete the entire time. It's gonna be great. Listen, we'll have a phone world party if you want, Lantis. All forces all the times. It's a Force character. We can make it work. Lantis also actually submitted a question to us as well. Let me see. Lantis actually asked, my question to Skyly is, how do you feel about Gabarda?
Well, all I'll say is there is a quest on Ephinea where you can check your career stats, and one of the things you can do is you can check how many times you've used certain techs. This character has never used Gibata. That should tell you what I believe about Gibata.
Wow. Like, is this a personal choice? Like, is this a personal preference, or is this taking a stand?
I just don't like it. I would just rather spam Rabata. I just think Rabata to me is a much more useful skill generally. But respect to anyone who does use it, but I've never used it on a level 200 character. And I don't think my HUnewearl has ever used it either.
Chat's
And she's
literally
190.
Chat's literally just going, Gabarda's so bad. Nobody likes Gabarda. Your HUnewearl is welcome. She is the fifth force. I can't believe that you know off the top of your head. You're like, I've never touched it. It has never been customized on my toolbar.
I was looking through it a while back, and I thought, I saw all the different texts I'd used, and I thought, really? I'm level 200 and I've never used it? I was like, well, I need to leave it that way now. I just need to never use it now because it feels wrong for me to use it at all.
I feel so unclean. Why did my hands, I must wash them. The Gabarda was released on them. I don't like this. Where's my hand sanitizer? A shotgun Gabarda from version 1 needs to come back. I've never seen version 1 shotgun Gabarda. I'm going to take your word for it, though. I'm going to take your word for it. Nanto June also had a really good question as well from the last of our fan submitted questions. He asked, how do you feel about the quality of life improvements on Ephinea compared to the vanilla episode 1 and 2 experience of GameCube and Xbox? And what's your opinion on the different servers outside of Ephinea itself?
So on the servers themselves, it's kind of hard for me to say much on that one because the only private servers I've played for PSO is Ephinea, and I did play on Stack way back until the event happened, and anyone who played on Stack knows what the event is. So it's kind of hard for me to judge the private servers really against each other. I know I think there's one called Destiny, which kind of goes overboard and lets you do crazy stuff that was never really intended. And I think that's good for, if you want to just kind of break PSO as much as you want and just go crazy with it, then yeah, by all means, that's maybe a server for you to try. I do like on Ephinea that Ephinea sticks mostly to the original Sega server, but the quality of life improvements on Ephinea I think are really, really nice. As much as I love PSO, there was a lot of faults with the game. Just little things like being able to open up your shared bank alternate between your character bank and your shared bank. That was obviously never a thing on the Sega servers. You would have to, switch between characters, get someone to hold items for you, to swap items between characters. And it just makes things so much easier. So I'm a big, big fan of all the quality of life improvements they've done. I think they are very, very careful as well with how they do it. I think they try to stay as close to the original as they can without it feeling too different, but they don't want it to feel identical at the same time.
Well, I think also in some respects too. I think I've only played on both Shithack as well as on Ephinea. I think a lot of different private servers cater to a lot of different people. From what I've heard of like Destiny or Ultima, where they do those insane EXP bonuses, like I could see that being beneficial for somebody who doesn't have enough time to play. So those huge EXP boosts is great for them. But I'm in agreement with you that the quality of life features that are available on here don't take away from the experience as a whole.
Yeah, to me, who played a lot of Sega Blueburst, it feels very much like home. It feels very, very similar to how it was on Sega, but with a few of the annoyances removed, which I'm a real big fan of.
Do you think also we'll see any other iterations of maybe like Phantasy Star Universe or, any other games kind of being released like PS2, PSP2i? Like, do you think we'll see stuff like that, maybe like more releases of different private servers in the years to come?
Well, I know that there is some work going on for, I believe it's for PSO2. I don't really want to talk about it too much because it's at odds with the end user creator thing, but I am aware that it exists. And I think things like that are fantastic for when the servers do go down and there's no way of officially playing it anymore. Then I think I'm happy with that existing. I probably won't really venture onto it before then. I think for the games like PSU, obviously we've got Clementine at the moment. I don't really see there being enough. It's kind of hard to say, but I don't really think there's enough real want to get another private server for PSU. I think when you look at Clementine's population, it usually hovers sort of between 60 to 100 usually outside of events. And I just think if you're making another PSU server, it's going to split that.
Yeah.
Although having said that, I think I did see recently that I think Clementine are planning on making some other kind of server that plays a bit differently, that plays more like the original Sega server.
Oh, really?
I don't know how. Yeah, they mentioned it in one of their updates. I think it's still very early days for it at the minute. I don't know how far along they are with it. But I don't know how I feel about it because I just don't know if there's enough demand for it for PSU.
It's the PSU community is a very interesting community to me because I can say this, you know, I'm not one that focuses on metrics or statistics or anything like that, but without fail, for myself on my channel, when I stream PSU, people come out in full force and they come out of the woodwork. I'm like, where have all you people been? They're like, someone's streaming PSU, and I'm like, oh, okay. There's got to be some PSU representation. We need a spokesperson for the PSU community. They want it. They absolutely want it, and they want it. They want that exposure out there. There's just not somebody who's kind of filling that position as the face. And there's some people that I've seen, some people in my community have also streamed a whole lot of PSU. I keep going and I'm like, this could be you. You could do this. You could do this. Make it so. I physically cannot do this, but I know you can. So I'm always hopeful that more people bring awareness to PSU and to Clementine as a whole, because I think Clementine is a great game. My only remorse with it is I would love the story. I would love the story to be available.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of difficult, isn't it? I think particularly for the later story, it's just really hard to find a way to bring that back, I guess.
And listen, if someone can give me a Phantasy Star Zero private server, is that a thing? Can we make that a thing? Can we do that?
I mean, you can play Zero online.
Yeah, but but in the sense, okay, you can play it online, but the sense of community and making it like, you know, a private server for people to log in and play is what I'm kind of hoping for. It's a pipe dream, I suppose, but
yeah, it could just be because the way the Zero is set up. You know, I think it's designed as like a P2P game, isn't it? I think so. I guess it's kind of difficult to do a private server for it.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. That's understandable. But I'm always holding out hope because I think Phantasy Star Zero is a very underrated game in terms of story. I think it's a great story, and I wish more Phantasy Star games had that kind of play style in terms of story. The way where what you choose as a character determines where in the story you begin, I think is fascinating, and I wish more games do that.
Zero is such a fun game, honestly. I did not play it near release. I only played it in the last couple of years as part of the channel. It is a really, really fun game. The story is really good as well. I would really recommend if anyone hasn't tried it to give it a shot.
Yes, I completely concur with that. Oh, someone has 4 copies of Phantasy Star Zero, Lantis. Your private server in PS Zero is basically your friends list in game. Oh, so I guess it's there. I've got to get to playing it. I have the physical copy of it, but I haven't played it online. So I might have to do at some point. Maybe we can get an episode 3 private server going. You love episode 3, right?
You can play episode 3 online as well.
Yeah, I do know that. It's where do you stand on episode 3? What's your take on it?
I like it.
Do you?
It might be controversial, but I like Ep 3. It's very, very different, obviously. The story is really interesting for episode 3. And I do like how the card game works. It's just that I think when it released, it was such a departure from episode 1 and 2. And I think at the time, I've said this before, people just wanted more PSO episode 1 and 2, I think at the time. And this just seemed so wildly different that it threw a lot of people off. I think someone in my chat said it before that Sega were almost ahead of the curve with it because it was way before things like Hearthstone and everything. And it kind of feels like they jumped the gun with that kind of game.
And to Sega's credit, they tried to give some version of it with Line Strike. They tried.
Yeah.
They did a thing, although it feels a lot more like Triple Triad from Final Fantasy. I was like, oh, they didn't have to do it like that, but okay, I'll take it. I got a weapon camo out of it. So,
honestly, though, I think F3. I think Leon's just said actually, yeah, the story for episode 3 is really good. I think the fact that there are essentially 2 full stories, depending on which side of the arc you play on, no pun intended. The stories are massively different. The only thing that really annoys me about it is I wanted to do a lore video on episode 3 a while back, and I realized very quickly that it's almost impossible to do well because there are so many branching paths in the game. You know, there's so many points where one character will say to you, "Oh, take me on the next mission," and that will affect what happens. And if you don't take them, something else will happen. So because of that, it's almost impossible to do like a lore playthrough on because you'd be there forever getting all the different options for the story.
So then, and you'll have to forgive me. I have not dabbled in episode 3 just yet. I have availability to be able to play it, and I haven't done it yet. Are you saying then that episode 3, the story content of it, is very much like a visual novel that based on what you choose will depend on not necessarily if you get the best ending, but it alters the ending that you receive?
It will alter certain events in the game. So there are certain quests in the game where some characters will request that you take them along on that quest, and if you do that, you might get a certain event happen that you wouldn't see otherwise.
Oh.
The story is very, very in depth though. And if you like PSO's story, this is like the culmination of PSO's story as well.
Oh, so I wish they told you these things. Ah. Oh, I might have to play this sooner than I thought. I wasn't ready to go back into my dating sim Otome days. That's insane. I didn't realize that. You should bring out an Excel spreadsheet and just start determining the different endings, and when you branch it, you can kind of do it that way. It's not impossible. It's just a real pain in the patella to do. It's a pain in the butt.
Well, the other thing is that while I was thinking this, another creator did a really good video on it, and I thought, do you know what? They can have that one. Please take it.
You did that work. I'm going to give you a thumbs up for it. I'm going to give you a thumbs up for it. Stella's the best girl. There's actually one more question that I have for you, and we kind of touched on it throughout the course of this entire episode. But, it's no secret that your knowledge of the franchise definitely spans decades. We know that you've been involved with the GameCube era as far back as 2003. I'm curious to get your take on how the franchise has evolved. Are you content with the current state of Phantasy Star Online? And this is also including 2, a new Genesis. And are you hopeful for its future? This is a very big ask. And I was like, this might be a very loaded question. And that's not my intention. But it's a very interesting, perspective to hear from you.
The short answer would be I'm not particularly happy with where the franchise is at the minute. I think for me personally, I was much more a fan of the early games. So games like PSO, PSU, and since then the JRPGs as well. Mm-hmm. I really like those style of games. When the franchise moved over to a more sort of MMO focus, like PSO2 and NGS, it kind of lost me a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's just a very, very different kind of game that I don't vibe with as much, which is, that's a personal thing. It's no shade on the game or anything. Mm-hmm. I think in regards to how confident I am with the franchise going forward, I think at the moment we are at kind of a critical point with NGS where we are meant to be getting a big story update next month. That has been very long overdue. And I think a lot of people are going to judge the game based on this next major update. It kind of feels like we are at a bit of a crossroads with NGS now, where if the next big update doesn't land, I think it's going to put a lot of people off the game. But it is also Sega's opportunity to kind of rebuild the reputation of the game as well, because, like we mentioned earlier, it didn't have a great launch. They've stumbled a bit with NGS, to be fair. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is their chance to kind of rectify that and get back on the right track. So I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with this April update. I'm hoping that we get back onto a more positive route with the game. I still have fun with it. I still play NGS a few times a week. I have fun with what I do. I have friends on there that I play with a few times. and it is a game that I do enjoy logging on to, but I feel as a Phantasy Star game, for me, it does definitely feel like one of the weaker entries overall. And I feel that the early games kind of nailed what I wanted a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like we covered a little bit earlier as well, I think because Sega apparently just don't seem to really care much about the franchise, but from what it seems, it's kind of hard to be too positive about the future of the franchise going forward because who knows if we're going to get anything substantial.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will say, on the PSO side of things, I think the existence of things like Ephinea, private servers, they are very much keeping those games going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there will always be a population on these early games. I think these are always going to be games that people keep coming back to. 20 odd years later, people are still playing this. There's still hundreds of people playing Ephinea. And I certainly have no issues with how PSO is going. I think that the private servers are doing a fantastic job of keeping that game alive and preserving it for like generations to come as well.
I think in some regards as well, and I try to look at all different facets of a situation. With PSO2 and New Genesis, at least here in the stateside, I try to be cognizant to the fact that there is a lot of global uncertainties and the global precedent of what happened with the pandemic and whatnot. I'm sure without a doubt that played a factor into how things rolled out. And I'm not gonna turn a blind eye to that. I am in agreement.
Sure.
I'm definitely in agreement with you with where you are with NGS and base PSO2. And I usually, with these kind of questions and discussions, it could always go one or two ways. It could go to a really positive outlook or a very negative outlook. And sometimes it could be a collaboration of the two. I agree with you that I am I'm hoping for the worst, but preparing for the best. That's kind of how I can only approach it at this point, where I'm just like, for the social aspect of it, there are great friends that I've made in New Genesis, and for that reason alone, I'll always still be actively playing it, and I'll always be playing New Genesis and base PSO2 to some capacity, because those were kind of my entryway into Phantasy Star as a whole. I do think, though, that PSO is thriving, and especially around December, right around anniversary time, without fail, there's always just an influx of players, an influx of just experiences, and there's always, usually around that time, a lot of the bigger streamers start playing it. They're like, oh, I haven't played this in a bit. I'm like, where have you been? We haven't gone anywhere. We've been here all year long. We don't go far. Because people be like, hello, did this just come out? And I'm like, no, we've been here for a very long time. So I am of the opinion with you as well. I think we're very much on the same path of that. I want to give, again, the benefit of the doubt to PSO2 New Genesis as well as base PSO2, because I have a very sentimental, attachment to that game in particular. But I guess we'll see. I suppose maybe Sega will surprise us. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll throw something out of left field. I don't know. I'm always like, I don't want to be sad this time. There's another, Summer Games Fest or an E3 or something. This could be the one. This could be the one. And
if I just keep huffing enough copium, it'll happen eventually. It has to.
Well, the worst part is at this point, Sam's like, you're not allowed to watch these anymore because you get so sad and so like unhappy, and you just look so down on yourself after these things happen. I'm like, Sega's giving all the other classic games love. Golden Axe, come on, Golden Axe is great. Don't get me wrong, but come on. And he's like, it's not the same. I'm like, you're right, it's not. Oh, not hoping.
I'm hoping, but I'm not confident.
I said it wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not hoping for the worst and preparing for the best. I'm preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. That's what I meant. You knew what I meant, Skyly. So if Skyly knew what I meant, we're okay. We're okay. And maybe
I just glossed over that.
I completely. Words is very much a real thing. But when we get our RACAST CLUNK ASMR, it'll be okay. I'm not worried about it at that point. So I can't wait for you to release that CLUNK ASMR video, as well as the CLUNK ASMR lore video. I'm so excited that you have these already down on the pipeline, and we can look forward to those in the future. Do you actually have any like fun upcoming projects or anything exciting that you have going on your end over on your channel?
I think so. At the moment, it's kind of just I'm in a routine spot at the moment. So I tend to cycle Phantasy Star games on my Sunday streams. Just tend to alternate between them, just because I know a lot of people like different games in the franchise. So I try to rotate them as much as I can. Wednesday streams at the minute, I'm doing Front Mission 3, so that's kind of my focus at the moment for the stream side of things. On the video side of things at the moment, I have kind of stepped back from videos a little bit in the last few months, just because at one point I was putting out 2 videos a week, and it got to a point where I also work full time as well. So this is not my job. I do this as a hobby basically, and doing that while doing a full time job was just impossible, and I really burnt myself out doing it. So I scaled back to 1 video a week. I'm now at a point where I basically as and when, so I will update a video maybe once every couple of weeks. That is much more comfortable for me for the most part, and I'm much happier doing that. But I'm just trying to, continue doing the guide videos and everything for PSO, which is becoming more and more difficult because I am realizing I've covered the majority of the game now, and there's not a whole lot left I can cover for PSO.
Fair.
But there is plenty of other games in the franchise I can do videos on as well. So,
again, just when you do the CLUNK ASMR video, it's not going to be hard. You just literally run around in a circle around Forest 1, just record it, and then just make sure you put it as a premiere, and then I'll be sure to tune in. I'll promote it on my end, and I'll be like, everybody, you need to watch the CLUNK ASMR video. You should honestly make that an April Fool's joke, because I imagine that's going to piss off a lot of people. I'm like, I'm here for this. Let's go.
Believe me, I do have a plan for April Fools for something else, but yeah.
Do you really? I don't have any fun April Fool's plans. I always announce my April Fool's plans as like a idea that I had on the top of my mind, and people are just like, you could have kept that to yourself and actually did it, pizza. I'm like, oh, I messed up. Okay, never mind. My bad. But again, thank you so much, Skyly. It was a blast having you here. And to everybody that tuned in, you guys have been so vocal today. Oh my goodness. All of you have been in here and have been chatting about things. Which, by the way, now that I know that Skyly does Gunpla, get ready. We're doing more collabs in the future between wrestling and Gunpla.
It's happening.
It's got to. Listen. When a HUnewearl and an android meet up and hang out in a lobby, it's just good times happen. Good times flow. It may not be a Phantasy Star game. It might just be us building things, but I'm okay with this. So
I'm so down.
I honestly, and that's the thing is, you go through a point where, and I know you get this, where we're routinely running through the same Phantasy Star content, that you kind of just need just a small lull, like a small little break in everything. And I'm like, I don't know what I should do. And I usually do a game called Mech Builder, where I'm building Gunpla in a game. And then I actually started a redeem on my channel where if folks or maybe I didn't put the redeem up yet, but folks can submit their characters and I could try to recreate them as Gunpla in this Mech Builder game as like part of a kit bash session. So I'm always like,
is that on Steam?
It is on Steam. It is an indie made game. It's done by a guy by the name of Don Pachi, and it's literally you just connect and click things. It's great because it's the fun of doing Gunpla without the mess of it. Like you don't have pieces of plastic everywhere, and the sprinkles, the little Gundam sprinkles, they all go away. It's so nice. There's no cleanup.
And I assume without the trauma of losing the really small parts and then hunting around on the floor for them for hours.
And you can paint and use decals, and it's not a pain in the ass to take decals off of the sticker page. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
We need to become friends on stream. I'm going to gift you that game. I want you to play that game. I think when you need just a free time where you're just like, man, I'm really tired from work and from, playing all of these or working on all these videos, and then you could just log on and we could just boot up. It doesn't matter what, portion we're in. We're just both playing Mech Builder, having a blast. And then you can display them in your little bedroom in the game. It's literally like my game of the year. Like for at least 2 years now. I'm like, it's game of the year. This is all I need to play. I'm good to go. Multiplayer
and
Mech Builder.
It saves a lot of money buying actual Gunpla as well.
Well, that's the other
Win-win.
thing too. They have DLC packets, so they do a lot of legally distinct things. Like it's not Gundam, it's more like Mundum or something.
Yeah.
You see it and you're just like, that looks like a transformer. It must be a Triforce former or something. It's just, you know what it's supposed to be, and you're like, I can make this work. So it's a good time. But yeah, you have to send me, please do not forget, send me your Steam name. 1, it would be great to have you as friends on Steam, and 2, I gotta gift you that game. That game is so much fun. I think it's my therapy. It is literally like when I need quiet self-care time, if I'm not streaming it, I'm literally just playing it offline, just, putzing around. It's a lot of fun. It is true.
That sounds good.
Yeah, the dev will sometimes, if you are streaming the game for whatever reason, the dev will sometimes show up and stream and just gift a handful of keys for folks to play. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, really, really nice developer. They're just a good time. But with that, we're going to end here. Again, thank you so much, Skyly. Again, Skyly, where can folks find you on YouTube and Twitch as well?
So I'm on YouTube at SectionSkyly. I'm on Twitch at SectionSkyly. I'm X and Blue Sky, unsurprisingly, at SectionSkyly. And I do have a Discord server as well. But yeah, mainly YouTube and Twitch. I stream twice a week, usually Wednesdays and Sundays.
Nice. And if you guys don't already follow, please be sure to follow Skyly. Skyly is amazing. Follow the guide videos. I have a couple of members in my community within the Penguin Crew that have used those guides, and they're, I think, level 194 or 195 just from doing the Dragon Loop on TTF repeatedly.
Nice.
So those guides do work. They do work. So check them out. Go and support them. But if you would stick with me as well, what we're going to do then is I'm going to head on over to here, and we are going to get ready. I'm going to, log out of Blueburst real fast. But you're going to stick with me here, and we are going to get ready for a Matorado, is what we're going to do. So,
sounds good.
Now, out of curiosity, I always ask this with every viewer or with every guest. If you don't have one, that's perfectly fine too. Is there any folks right now currently on Twitch that you would like us to send a Matorado out to?
Let's see. Is anyone actually live playing anything interesting? Let's have a look. I mean, Ziggy Pixar is live playing PSO at the minute, so that is one option.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Ziggy is on, yeah.
Listen, if Ziggy's on, I'm not going to say no to Ziggy as well. There's I'm trying to see if there's anybody else, just because I want to try to spread it out. But let me just check real fast. I think you might be right. I think you're right. I think you're correct. I'm okay with sending it to Ziggy again. I don't mind. Ziggy's good people. Ziggy is good people. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back in action again on Tuesday. If you don't already follow, you can follow us over on socials, as well as we also have a Discord as well if you'd like to join. Skyly, I'm going to have to join your Discord. I'm ready for that. I want to go hang out with the Farla fam and just give them all the hugs and be like, guys, this is what we need to do. Let's go, Farla fam. You're all sweet, sweet beans. Yeah. Let's go hang out.
Likewise, the Penguin Crew.
Yes. We can totally do that. So let's get it on over to, let's see here. Ziggy, Pixar. Yep, there we go. Playing some more Phantasy Star Online Blueburst. Let's get that raid started. And I think we are gearing up now. Look at all these people coming in. Get on in there. Guys, if you would be so kind to stick around. This has been the head maid in charge here, Pizza Maid. It's been a pleasure to serve you. We're going to do something here. We're going to do another, oh God, what did we call it last week? Oh God, we called it Section Materon, I think.
I think it was that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to really quickly do this. Section Materon. That's what it is. Go tell them. Let them know that we're raiding them. Here, I think I'll call it a raid. And then let's do one of these. And then let's also do one of these. That's what we're going to make it. So if you guys want to copy and paste this, so as soon as we get in there, you can let them know that this is coming in from both Pizza Maid as well as SectionSkyly. Get on in there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you on Tuesday. But until then, this has been the head maid in charge here, Pizza Maid. It's been a pleasure to serve you. And never, ever, 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 ever forget that this little android and Skyly's inner RACAST absolutely love you. That's right. Inner RACAST. Onto it. Oh, did it just stop? Oh no. Oh no. All right, let's go read.